Good afternoon. Thank you, Astor, Clint, Jim, and all of you for sticking around and learning a little bit more about what we're up to. I'm really proud of this project that I want to talk to you about, and there's a lot of information out there, so if I go too quickly, I've only got a few minutes to describe it. You'll find a sheet of paper, fact sheet on your desk, and then we also have a display out there that talks about the RCPP and the Lower Gunnison Project in particular. So what is the Lower Gunnison Project? Obviously, to know about the Lower Gunnison Project, you've got to know about the whole Gunnison. And the whole Gunnison Basin is shown here. A highly diverse basin, boasts the largest water body in the state, and that's Blue Mesa Reservoir, shown in the middle. And the other thing that your eye will go to, of course, is sort of that brownish section in the western portion, which we affectionately call the Lower Gunnison. That's where our breadbasket is in western Colorado, and that's where we have a lot of opportunities that we just heard Astor describe to address. As we zoom in to the Lower Gunnison, and I know this is a little bit hard to see out of context, but your eye, of course, will go right to the blue polygons there. Those are our focus areas. Those are the areas that are our primary agricultural areas, irrigated with quite a bit of water from Blue Mesa and the Gunnison River, which is a highly productive tributary of the Colorado River. You'll also see that brown line in the lower part, which constitutes the occupied critical habitat for endangered fish. I don't know if this pointer's not really going to help me, but I'm sure you can see that there in the upper part. As the river flows north to Grand Junction, where we sit, again, we have at least 2, if not the chance for 4 endangered fish to recover, and all of our efforts are really designed to help that happen and to keep our agricultural industry thriving. So quickly, the Lower Gunnison Project, as we have proposed it and now been successfully awarded $8 million from the NRCS, RCPP. The full title you can see there. It's really just about modernizing our approaches to water use and becoming more efficient. In so doing, we thereby significantly improve water quality, soil health, habitat, and even some quantity improvements. So it's a cooperatively funded program. The biggest funders are, in addition to NRCS, reclamation. Reclamation has a lot of programs. The salinity program is a big one. We have another source of funds under the power revenues generated by things like the power plants at and below Blue Mesa, we call the Aspinall unit. And those monies are going to be combined to really invest heavily in improving these systems, and I'll show you a few of them. Quickly moving through these objectives and resource concerns. These are out of the NRCS guidelines, and the reason that I think we're successfully awarded the first grant and invited to submit for another grant is that we address all 4 of these resource concerns really well. It's as if the program was written for us. And so you can see again, water quality issues, water quantity issues, soil health issues, and the habitat. So by doing what we're going to do, and I'll talk about it, we're addressing all 4 of those resource concerns, and we've already, through other means, made great strides in these areas. So the project objective is, as you heard, water use efficiency. Well, why do we care about that? Because we want to reduce the seepage and loss of water to the groundwater. When we have seepage and loss and deep percolation, that can take dissolved salts, dissolved selenium, and oxidize it and bring it to the river system. It gets into the aquatic habitat and poses problems. Not only will it address that water quality very directly, the better management of the reservoirs that provide these irrigation water, the river diversions, and the deliveries will all be integrated into this project so that our demand will be matched by our supply in a much better sense. So that's going to hopefully result in not only increased flows and better water quality, but better productivity, better application of water on farm, and again, better habitat improvements downstream. As Astor mentioned, we have a huge, pretty strong and vibrant partnership. You can see the folks on the list. There's many that are not shown. There are 30 partners that are contributing both cash, in-kind support, and moral support, of course. But these are the big ones. And I want to draw your attention to the No Chico Brush Group, which is sort of a grassroots organization that really lobbied for this, pushed for agricultural efficiency, has been educating their neighbors and their partners on the importance of agricultural efficiency. And also want to draw your attention to some of the non-governmental organizations, the Nature Conservancy, Trout Unlimited, and you're going to hear from Trout Unlimited later, and you'll understand why they are involved, as well as the conservancy districts and conservation districts, which are formerly called soil conservation districts, and those are the entities that work alongside NRCS and are very valuable partners and well represented here today in the room. I don't want to mention every single one. You can see, though, that we have strong support from the state of Colorado agencies as well. Just to show you again, these focus areas look like they're all fish swimming downstream, but those are the areas that we're going to be really focused on intensively modernizing these systems. And we're going to be doing it in a four-pronged approach, both the off-farm, those are the delivery systems, the near-farm, that's sort of the margins, when you take the large canals and you start putting them into the water supplies into laterals, bringing them onto the farm, and then on-farm with sprinklers, and then, of course, integrating all of those. And all of this seems probably pretty obvious to everybody, but it has not been done on a regional scale or a basin-wide scale. Basin-wide scale. So what does it look like? You can see here a typical canal in the Uncompahgre Valley. You've got the Manco Shale, which has a lot of the salt and selenium that we've been trying to deal with. And again, just to reiterate, we're by lining and piping these facilities, these are 120-year-old earthen hand-dug canals, putting them into pipe, it would be no surprise that you're going to become more efficient and you're going to minimize losses and minimize seepage and transport of the contaminants of concern. Likewise, on farm, we're seeing a lot of producers going to sprinklers, thanks to the NRCS and EQIP and now the RCPP, which is really just a packaging up of EQIP services. We can put even more sprinklers in the ground, and we can make these smart sprinklers, and we can have structures that talk to the sprinklers, that talk to soil moisture sensors in the ground to turn on and off these sprinklers, and then turn on and off head gates as you go upstream, and thereby conserve water in upstream reservoirs and or downstream reservoirs and habitat. So going through this pretty quickly, but I hope you'll agree that for Colorado Ag, this is extremely important. It's going to help provide regulatory compliance. The Clean Water Act and the Endangered Species Act are really what we're trying to stay ahead of. Those are two federal programs or federal laws that can really shut down agriculture if we're not successful. And we have been successful, and we want to continue to be successful. And of course, keeping growers productive, economically viable, and sustainable is absolutely key. As we become more efficient, we're actually seeing more productivity, better yields, different crops, and we're out there not only measuring the changes in water quality, quantity, but also how much productivity we're seeing per acre on a per acre basis. And so jumping way downstream, this is the other boogeyman. You've heard about it all day. This is what we think we're going to help at least provide some flexibility in addressing by becoming more efficient. So again, I ran through that pretty quickly. We're pretty far ahead of schedule, and I'd be happy to address questions now or in our panel.
You could take some now.
So I see Max over there, and he's probably... Yeah, you know, basically the RCPP is available for all comers. The way that we've designed it is pretty much in those focus areas right now. You know, a little bit in jest, but I do want to just, but we do want to take these same water efficiency programs throughout Western Colorado, and our, you know, the Grand Valley is a huge part of that. We're already doing stuff, of course, with Orchard Mesa Irrigation District with efficiency, and so thanks for your question, and we want to do more. Mr. Schrock?
Dave, I would just like to suggest that the leadership of the NRCS in all of this has been important, but so has that of our congressional delegation. Senator Bennett, Congressman Tippett provided great leadership and help creating the RCPP legislation, the Farm Bill, and in the creation of the Colorado River as a critical conservation area. I think sometimes we forget to recognize their leadership and contribution to the project.
I think that's a really great comment. Thank you, Steve. That we are working very closely with our congressional delegation. Senator Michael Bennett, in particular, has been out to see some of these things, has talked to us, asked us about our concerns, been very responsive, and so we do owe them a debt of gratitude.
Dave, did I see Colorado State University on your list of cooperators? You ran that slide back pretty fast, and I believe that the experiment station and perhaps even cooperative extension has been part of the effort.
Another great comment, and if it wasn't on there, they are a huge part of this. And Colorado State University, as many of you know, has not only their ag extension, research, they also have their Water Institute. We've been working with Dr. Perry Cabot, who's just been absolutely phenomenal, helping us do research and development on farm, trying to understand the impacts, and it's absolutely astounding what that one organization has brought to the table. So thank you, Mr. Acquafresca, for reminding me and singling CSU out for acknowledgement. So Mr. John Miller was asking about water banking, and the question was, and maybe you missed some of the comments earlier, but we are investigating the implementation of water banking. This project should be considered separate and distinct from water banking and system conservation. When Dan Birch and Eric were up here, they were talking about water banking and system conservation as a means to reduce consumptive use. I should point out that what we're talking about here could actually increase consumptive use. As you become more productive, your consumptive uses can go up, and it's actually good news. But what it also affords you the ability to maybe take some marginal lands out of production, or sort of make more intensive use of that productivity and give you the flexibility to do other things. And maybe that is an opening for system conservation and water banking. But that, although it's not related to the RCPP, it's something we're very interested in. We're interested in getting input from growers on how that might work. And again, we have a whole bunch of information on our website about water banking, and Dan Birch is the heading up that effort, along with a another long list of cooperators in our water bank work group.
One final question, when's some of this work going to start?
That's a loaded question. It has already started. I guess that's the good news. You know, the title of this is An Ag Project Hits the Ground. We didn't hit the ground running, but we hit the ground and we're moving. We're moving slowly. We have an agreement in place, and it's a little bit what I think Astra was alluding to. Sometimes it's going to be hard to tell where our project starts and a salinity project starts. I mean, we're trying to leverage and expand those efforts that are ongoing right now. And so we do have some things in the ground right now. Some of it's by way of the No Chico Brush research projects. Some of it's by way of salinity. But right now, the first thing we're doing is planning. We've got master planning going bonkers throughout these focus areas. And we're learning a lot before we spend too much money. So we're sort of on the first part of the ramp up, and then we're going to hit that you know, sort of inflection point and take off, I think, probably next year.
For Dave.